Hello there everybody, welcome back to another Lost Ark video. It's Topical Tuesday, which means we take a look at the subreddit over the last week and we see what's been happening. I honestly don't know what's going to be on the top this week, aside from the Chinese Lost Ark stuff. And I haven't really looked at the Chinese Lost Ark stuff at all, I just know about it, like, roughly. Because a lot of people were like, hey, have you heard about the Chinese Lost Ark patch stream thing? And I was like, no, but I know now, smile face. And then there's also a team update, May 2025. I guess I'll take a look at these threads and see what we got. Let's see if these threads get us. Let's take a look at our version stuff first. The team update, May 2025. Oh, it's just a video only? Man, I am not watching that shit. If you're watching this shit, you've already seen it. What is the TLDR? Any TLDR? Ah, here we go. This is my goat. My goat. TLDR, overview of what's coming. Might take several months. Watch the results of the survey closely. Went to Korea, talk about it with Smilegate. We've seen this many times. Yeah. New system coming, Paradise, easy seasonal content. 3 activities, Mob Wave Defense. We'll add gear pieces like Cloak Belt, only usable in the system. God's Testimony, 1v1 against bosses. Most of our character power will come from new gear pieces earned in 1. Stronger and stronger bosses, leaderboards, Hell Keys. 3rd activity is Hell, 100 floors, go down through them. In the end, you choose rewards, short content, so they want to add something more challenging. Overall, I think having things to do that aren't just exclusively raids is something that this game has needed so badly for so long. Obviously, better late than never, but I do wonder if this is like content that they've actually put thought and effort into, or it's just like, oh, we could make this and maybe people will like it and maybe people will play it and maybe people will, you know, enjoy it more than, like, raids or whatever. Not even enjoy it more than raids, but just give people something else to do other than raids. Long-term project after Kazaros, challenge modes for raids, harder difficulty like the first mode, leaderboards. Adjusted Makoko Bootcamp with the icon being linked to ×10 clears. It will be down for a short time and come back after that. Mileage shop coming, retroactive rewards. We'll add character-bound gold. Short talk about the gems. Nothing significant. Will be discussed more during the roadmap. Roadmap early July. Interesting. Overall, I'm interested to see how the additional content that aren't raids end up being. I think that's something that the game has needed for a long time, and something that is, I mean, it's good that it's getting added, right? Every single person in the China Reveal thread said these changes would never come to the West. Get fucked. WAGS very excited for the future of the game. Thanks to communication. Good luck in your new role. Henry. Loa saved. Alright, well, let's take a look at the Chinese stuff. Lost Ark 2.0 was announced in China. The TLDR is something similar to this. Team dungeons are in development, basically solo content that aren't raids, illusion dungeons, Brel Illusion World. There's timed solo bossing with class-specific rankings like MapleStory Dojo, I guess. Descent into Hell, Endless Dungeon Delving, so that's like the Hell thing that we were just reading. So I guess we're getting basically the same thing. Endless Dungeon Boss Rush, we got that. Honor Reward, damage dealt in the raid will be ranked against others in this mode. You get class-specific honor icon borders. Basically nerf current hard mode, normal, and solo to decrease fatigue for casual players, with the new calamity mode is for people who find all the other modes too easy. New players can chill as mechanics will be few and far between. They mentioned normal mode will be unwipeable so you can matchmake, not sure. I mean, I've said that normal mode should be matchmakeable since the beginning, so it's interesting that they're finally taking this approach. I definitely think content that you're expected to clear weekly should not be difficult at all. And I know you can point to these raids and be like, well, they're not hard, you're just bad. And, like, in a nutshell, yeah, I guess that's true, but also, like, that's what kind of makes this game super niche to begin with. And that's kind of why the game is in the position that the game is in. I don't think there needs to be no difficult content, but I think the progression-based content and the difficult content should be separate, right? And I don't think that's, like, a crazy take. But hey, wonder if Smilegate is starting to see that the MMO industry in general is shifting heavily towards solo progression, and while you can earn mythic transmog tier sets entirely solo now, this is an interesting shakeup for Lost Ark. MMO games becoming solo is what killed the MM part of them. That's just not true. I would almost argue that an MMO having multiple avenues of content to do, depending on what you feel like doing at that moment, gives people more incentive to be social. And what I mean by this is, if you're forced to get a group to do content that you have to do in order to progress in the game, because that's the only thing to do in the game, I feel like you're much less likely to socialize with the people that you are forced to group with. Whereas if, like, you're doing solo content, for example, or you're, like, decorating your house or something in, like, Final Fantasy, you'll be more inclined to just talk to random people because you're not forced to be around them, if that makes sense. That's kind of my take on it. And I've seen this a lot in WoW when you would push, like, Mythic Pluses. Obviously, Mythic Pluses are just, like, completely elective content and pushing super high Mythic Plus keys. I'm not sure how it is now, but back when I used to play, pushing, like, Mythic Plus keys, it was obviously an elective. And you would want to surround yourself with people that you wanted to play with. And the people that you wanted to play with are the people that you just kind of instinctively met while doing other things in the game that I wasn't necessarily forced to do, but I just felt like doing because I wanted to do them. You know? Whereas in Lost Ark, it's like, your options are life skill, dailies, or raid. I don't know, man. Life skilling, obviously, is a solo activity, but it's not, like, the most engaging thing in Lost Ark. I think we can all agree on that. Dailies are dailies, they're chores at the end of the day. I mean, nobody's super excited to be doing chores. Some people might not hate chores, you know, I'm one of them, but it's not, like, the most engaging content in the world. And then raids are the content that people enjoy, but it's also the content that you kind of have to force yourself to group up with people, even if you might not want to. I mean, obviously there's solo raids now, but also solo raids aren't all-encompassing, so again, it's like a moot point, almost. I don't know. I think options are always better than not having options, and I think the whole MMO games becoming solo is what killed the multiplayer part of them is just so short-sighted. And not true? Right? Am I crazy? Because the way that I look at it, I guess, is if you're forcing yourself to group up with people that you don't really want to be playing with in the first place, you're not going to talk to them anymore, and you're not going to want to talk to them. Whereas if you have, like, some solo content, some group content, maybe sometimes you'll feel like doing some group content, or maybe you'll be doing solo content and talking to other people, whether that be through area chat, like fucking, maybe you're grouping up for, like, an event or something, whatever it may be. I think you're more inclined to talk to people if you don't feel like you're forced to be with those people, if that makes sense. I could be smoking dick, but I feel like that's my experience from the tons and tons and tons of hours I put into MMOs over the span of my life. Lost Ark 2 before GTA 6. Very true. Sounds like 1v1 boss rush mode with ladder. Una Quest is becoming weekly. That's good. New experimental content to do with different things instead of only raids. That's good. So that's the stuff that we're getting as well, yeah. That's the stuff we're getting. It's a lot of text. I am not fucking reading that shit. Is it extension or a new game? It's, from what my understanding is, this is like, just like, it is the same game, but it's essentially a reimagining of the main focus of the game, right? I think that's the whole idea. And it's kind of funny that it took Chinese Lost Ark in order for this to happen, but hey, at least it's happening. On stream, they said it was China exclusive. Well, clearly it's not if we're getting it. Smilegate sold some rights to Tencent. They can do whatever they want at their own pace, create new title and content. Gold River is in the crowd. Game forked. I mean, whether or not that's true, I do think Amazon has repeatedly dropped the ball in localizing the game for the Western player base, and I'm pretty much always said that, and I think I probably will always say that. It's good to see that there are some good changes in the you know, the horizon, I suppose. And the last thing that I will look at is the false positive bans that have been happening. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. But basically, a bunch of people got banned, quote unquote. As you can see, this man is clearly not a scrupulous member of the community. As you can see, he's a gold seller, all games, service boosting all games, DM for stock and price. But there were a lot of false bans out there. Though, obviously, with false bans come real deserved bans, such as this man. As always, if it is a false ban, 90% of the time, you'll get unbanned if you put a ticket. But chances are, if you get banned and it doesn't get overturned after a ticket, not always, but more likely than not, you know why you're banned. Anyways, I think that's it. I'm very tired. I think I'm gonna go take a walk and then try to go to sleep, or maybe play some MapleStory. I don't know. Thanks for hanging out with me as always, you guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye. Thank you to my YouTube members. It's Business Inner Diz. Remix my life. I'm Nufu. I love all of you guys very, very much. Now, bye for real. Bye.